Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's episode we're going to be doing a bit of a follow-up to my episode on ProtoWeb from last year, which if you missed that one you can check it out here up in the cards, but to give you a brief summary, ProtoWeb is a really cool service that aims to restore old website snapshots to sort of recreate the late 90s / early 2000s web browsing experience, and it does this really well, even in some cases by using modern APIs to pull current data, like what we saw with the Weather Channel site. But today we're going to be checking out a new feature that's been added to ProtoWeb called WarpStream, which is essentially an alternative front end for YouTube that can be accessed from vintage hardware like this to watch YouTube videos. And there's over 70,000 of them that have been preserved on this site, most of them being uploaded to YouTube between the years 2005 and 2007. So this is designed to be sort of like a YouTube time capsule. You can rewatch these old videos on older hardware and sort of get the experience of what it would have been like to do so back in the mid-2000s. So getting onto WarpStream follows the same process as getting onto ProtoWeb. You do have to configure your internet browser's proxy settings to connect to the ProtoWeb server. So in Internet Explorer 5 here, you do that by going to Internet Options, Connections, LAN Settings, check Use a Proxy Server, and you want to make sure that all of the protocols are set to use wayback.protoweb.org, port 7851. Now, as I mentioned in my original video, you could use port 7856 to simulate a 56K dial-up connection, but your speeds are going to be much slower, so especially if you're watching videos on WarpStream, you probably want to use the simulated T1 connection on port 7851. Now, the way you modify these settings will differ depending on what browser that you're using, so I'd recommend checking the ProtoWeb website for more information. Or you could also use ProtoWeb's own web browser based on RetroZilla if you don't have a vintage machine to access ProtoWeb with. But once you've got all that configured, if you head on over to inode.com, this is the ProtoWeb time machine directory that we saw in the previous video, and there's this new videos link right here. If you click on this, it'll redirect you to warpstream.net, and this is the interface, so it'll kind of remind you of how YouTube looked in 2006 2007 time frame, and you see it gives you a counter of how many people are online, how many videos that they have archived, and how many channels that they have. So let's hop into videos here, and you've got a few different categories here, or ways to sort all the videos rather. So I'm going to click on Editor's Picks here. I believe Me at the Zoo is the first option there, which it is, and so it gives you the date that it was added or uploaded to YouTube. It also has view count and rating information. Now, if you've seen Me at the Zoo recently, you'll know it has way more than 204,147 views. That's because all of this information is pulled from a 2007 data set. So all this stuff is accurate as of, I believe, early 2007, and I think that's really cool because it also adds to that experience that they're trying to recreate here. So these are the view counts as of 2007, so you can kind of see what people were watching, what the most popular videos were. For example, I did not realize that Evolution of Dance had 42 million views, over 42 million views in 2007, but it did, and that's kind of nuts. You also see we have the old star rating system as opposed to the like and dislike one that is on YouTube now. And of course we have titles, descriptions, and thumbnails as well for all of these. So we'll just click on Me at the Zoo and we'll let this play maybe a little bit here.
Alright, so here we are, one of the elephants.
So you've got three different players that you can use. This is the Flash player, which is going to give you the most authentic experience. In fact, this player will look very, very familiar to you if you watched YouTube videos in the mid-2000s. If you don't have Flash player, you will get a message that says you have to download it, and you can do that by going to the About tab here, where they have download links for Flash Player, Real Player, and Windows Media Player. Now, I did not have Flash Player on this computer before I started filming this video, so I had to download it through this link. And what's cool is, again, because we're routed through ProtoWeb, this will pull up a reconstructed Macromedia Flash Player download page where we can choose our platform. We'll choose Flash Player, we'll click on Get Shockwave, and it will download it. Of course, the browser thinks from download.macromedia.com, but we're going through the ProtoWeb server, obviously. So we'll save it to disk. We'll just overwrite the file I already have, and we will again get that simulated T1 connection speed, so it won't be as fast as my actual internet connection. So there we go. I've just downloaded it for a second time, and then we can go back and you can get Real Player, Windows Media Player if you want to, and then you can go back here and watch videos with whatever player you want. And while we're on the topic of players, if we go to settings here, this is where you can adjust what the default media player is. Now, Flash Player 2008 is the most feature-rich one because you can adjust the appearance and you can enable or disable subtitles as well. You can also adjust the Flash Player quality here for all of the Flash Player versions, and for other players you can adjust the video quality down here. So we'll set it to 2008, and why don't we change this to, I don't know, orange, why not? And we'll hit submit. And then if I go back to videos, and we'll just go to the Me at the Zoo video again, because why not? It's a pretty awesome video. And now the player will have a little bit of a different UI because I was using the 2007 one previously. And of course, it is orange. You probably notice on the home page here, there's a video from the 8-Bit guy. Now, this is because back before I even made my original video on ProtoWeb, the developers reached out to me and a handful of other vintage tech-focused content creators and asked us if we would allow them to mirror our videos on WarpStream so that people could watch them on older systems. So of course I said yes because I thought this project was really cool. So if you go to channels here, you'll see all of our channels listed under partner channels. So there's a good amount of us, and my channel's right down here. So you can go to my channel, you'll get my channel description pulled from YouTube. So apparently 158 people tried to watch my 2023 Christmas special on ProtoWeb, which is kind of funny to think about. But we'll go in here, and the first thing we'll notice is that Flash Player on this particular system really struggles to keep up. It's dropping frames all over the place. The audio is cutting out a little bit here and there. So I'm just going to click on pause here. So we don't have like two of me talking. Now, ProtoWeb does down convert the original video file that they download from YouTube. So, you know, this is not playing back at the original quality, but even with that, it's still, you can see, really struggling to keep up with it. So just to make this really easy for this system, let's select the 56K modem speed Windows Media Player option. So it's buffering, buffering, buffering. Now, by the way, Windows Media Player will give you the lowest quality out of these three players, even at the higher connection speed, because it does utilize an older codec. That was something that the developers of ProtoWeb mentioned to me when I was emailing with them. So yeah, you can see here, like, the quality is very poor. The audio quality sounds like I'm underwater. But, you know, this is just like a novelty thing. I mean, it's not like you're going to be getting the best video quality anyway, with the video file being down converted from the very beginning for streaming on here. But I think it's pretty cool. I think it's awesome that all these creators agreed to just do this, because it's just kind of a fun little thing for people who are into vintage tech. You know, if you want to, you know, stream and watch these videos on older systems just for the fun of it, well, you can do it thanks to WarpStream. So that is pretty much all I have to say about it. I think it's a super awesome service, and I highly recommend checking it out. And, you know, maybe checking out the rest of what ProtoWeb has to offer. And again, if you didn't see my original video, definitely check that out, because there's a lot of cool stuff that I go into in that video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, all that good stuff. And if you really enjoyed this one and want to get early access to my future episodes, I do have a Patreon down below, or you can hit that join button to become a channel member. But either way, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.